What is self-esteem? Self-esteem is usually described as being confident in oneself. Although that is true, it is also acknowledging your general self-worth. You may not know this, but your actions are generally affected by your self-worth. Improving your self-esteem will help you live a happier and more eventful life. When you're confident and know your self-worth despite making mistakes, you will take more chances when presented with risky opportunities. Whether this turns out well or not, you won't let it break you down. In today's video, we will share 12 integral aspects of self-esteem to help educate people like you who want to live more opportunistic lives. Number 1. You are able to identify what hurts your self-esteem. Perhaps it's your job or your family, but there's always something to hurt your self-esteem. It's important to be able to identify these things to help bring your confidence up. If you can't, it will be harder to tackle the problem and improve. However, that doesn't mean it's impossible. Plenty of people haven't a clue why they're so insecure and improve despite it. Number 2. You make good decisions about who you surround yourself with. This is an example of the first sign. If you have good self-esteem, you won't let other people push you around. Letting people get away with that will end with you feeling inadequate. Though it's always best to avoid physical confrontation if you can. It's best to cut off people who treat you badly or talk about you to other people. For example, Becky from marketing, who always has something to say about your work clothes. Of course, actual constructive criticism is acceptable, but people who actively go out of their way to make you feel bad don't deserve your time or thought. Who does deserve your thought, however, is yourself, which brings us to our next sign. Number 3. You think about how you talk to yourself. This means that you are considering your needs when you speak. You don't put yourself down, even jokingly, because it will lower your self-esteem. Many people don't consider this an issue. The truth is that many people who jokingly say they hate themselves aren't actually joking. We've all seen the meme about funny friends when they're alone. Don't be that person. In fact, it's a good idea to practice affirmations. This can be as easy as simply reminding yourself of your achievements or saying to yourself that your goals are completely reachable. It's impossible to completely rid yourself of it, of course, but it always helps to try to reduce it. Number 4. You try to change negative thoughts about yourself. This is kind of an addition to number 3, but negative self-thought is a little different. These are the ones you hold up and don't want to share with other people. These thoughts can worsen anxiety and depression, as well as damage your self-esteem. Sometimes we can't control them, but it's a good idea to try to level with yourself. For example, if you're thinking, I can't do anything correctly, I should just give up. You should ask yourself if you'd give your best friend that advice. Hopefully the answer is no, so why would you give it to yourself? This does not apply to besties that abuse each other. We see you. You guys get to pretend you're giving advice to the other friend group. Number 5. You put your good ideas to use. One for sure way to boost your self-esteem is to get out there and complete a project. It's pretty obvious in retrospect, but we've realized the most effective way to feel useful is to be useful. Okay, that was worded weird. We mean to do something you've always wanted to do. Achieving something gives you a feeling like no other, and being able to acknowledge that feeling is better. People tend to underestimate how productivity affects your attitude. If you're going throughout the day working on something to better your world, then obviously it's going to feel better than sitting in your room watching Netflix all day. Now, that doesn't mean you always have to be running. Breaks are necessary too, and always make sure you pay attention to our next step too. Number 6. You take good care of your body. If you're familiar with this channel, you probably know we put a heavy emphasis on taking care of your body. If you don't do so, your mind will suffer as well. This means getting adequate sleep, frequent exercise, and eating well. Being healthy improves your self-confidence tenfold. It may be hard getting into a routine, but once you get used to it, you'll realize you should have done it sooner. It might have to start off small. If you try to do everything all at once, it can be overwhelming. For example, if you're only doing basic things every day, then suddenly decide to take up a 30-step skin and hair care routine, you're probably going to dump it. Don't rush. And remember, there's other types of self-care too. Number 7. You practice other self-care. You might think self-care is limited to taking care of your body, but it's also about taking a break sometimes. People underestimate the effect of letting your mind rest for a while. This could be in the form of a nap, a long bath, or even just watching your favorite show for a few hours at the end of the day if you can find time away from the grind. People romanticize working and spending zero time for themselves, but we recommend a balance of the two so you can lead a healthy life. Another form of self-care is taking care of your brain, which is what we'll be talking about next. Number 8. You take care of your brain. Taking care of your brain is very important to self-worth. It needs to be exercised to stay happy, so reading or finding a task where you need to use it for a few minutes is important. If you watched our other video, How to Keep Your Brain Healthy, then you know exactly how to get started. If you don't want to watch it, we'll provide a short summary here. Number 1. Spend around 30 minutes exercising it through activities like reading, practicing math problems, writing, or word games. Number 2. Make sure to get enough sleep and make sure to exercise to improve circulation and brain function. Number 3. Avoid drinking and doing drugs as they can damage your brain. That's a quick summary, but there's definitely more to it. Nevertheless, we continue to our next sign. Number 9. You don't compare yourself to others. People with low self-esteem have a habit of comparing themselves to more successful people. That's natural, but it's not healthy. People say you should focus on your own success rather than others, but it's never bad to observe how other people reach their version of success. It becomes an issue when you let it overwhelm you and stop you from improving your own life. For example, you find yourself scrolling through Instagram looking at models thinking, "Wow, I wish I had that body," while never actually working out. This could also be not realizing that their version of success is impossible for you. Maybe the model had surgery to get toned and you don't know that. So how could you achieve their body without that surgery? Sure, it may still be possible, but you'll have to work hard and you might experience the criticism of others. Number 10. You can take constructive criticism. We stick to not taking bullying, but you should accept actual constructive criticism when working. Our goal is to always improve, and sometimes we need to listen to other people's opinions to reach it. Remember to never take it too far, of course, you're still working for you. But knowing the difference between constructive criticism and just criticism can be difficult. The general idea for constructive criticism is that it's never bringing someone down, but rather building them up. Remember, it's constructive criticism. Now, sometimes we can't keep everything perfect, so we have to mention our next sign. Number 11. You know how to let go of things you can't control. It's just like it sounds. Life can always throw you a curveball, so it's easier to take it in stride than try to fight it. It can get particularly messy at times, so remember, always take time to manage stress. This is intertwined with step 7, of course. Make sure to focus on things you can control. For example, step 5. Actually, a lot of steps are applicable here. You can focus on your relationships with the people around you. Not everything can be perfect, but family will always be there. And speaking of imperfections, our last step. Number 12. You accept that you're not perfect. Yeah, I'm sure you're like, I know that, but you're probably unconsciously holding yourself to perfection standard, however you see that fit. You have to remember that you're a flawed human being who's allowed to make mistakes, no matter how dumb or obvious they may seem. Don't cry over spilt milk. That's one thing we're taught as kids, but never really comprehend as we get older. And if you weren't taught that, then you should be learning it for the first time. The milk can be cleaned just like mistakes can be fixed. Even if it leaves a stain, things will improve. It's just learning basic empathy for yourself. Well, now you know the integral acts of self-esteem. These signs will help you identify people who have good self-confidence and help you improve yours. We hope this video was useful for whatever your needs, and if you can think of anything we missed, please comment. And if you like these videos, you know to hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching, we'll see you next time.